In this video we're here at the next round of the FIA Manufacturers Series at Blue Moon Bay. Now races around this track are always fantastic and wow, this one did not disappoint. Hey guys, Eerie is here and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, then subscribe now and click the bell icon as well so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. So for this one I went around my usual preparation. I went to grab the fastest replay time from the top 10 times, which was actually dominated by the Mitsubishi Lancer, which was unusual to see, and then I got to work. Now I knew that in this one the slipstream was going to play a massive part, so I wasn't too worried about the time itself. But I wanted to ensure that I had my brake markers correct and established, my turning points sorted, and that I knew what gear I was going to be in for every single corner. And I wanted to get that all sorted before I even got near quali. So I ended up doing about 10 laps of practice here. I got myself comfortable with everything I needed to and didn't feel I was going to get much more value out of running around by myself. So my best time ended up being a 43.8, which was a long way down the leaderboard admittedly, but as I mentioned earlier, this race is all about the ridiculously strong slipstream here, so I finished up and it was time to enter the race session. So here we are then in quali, and I don't know about you, but it always feels like to me that I am one of the last cars to be let out of the pits, and it drives me absolutely mad. Let me know in the comment section if you do the same as me, just mash your foot to the floor thinking that it's going to have some sort of effect on the order in which you come out. But that irritant aside, let's move on to the session itself. We had 5 minutes here in quali, which is the shorter version of the usual 10-minute session. They've been experimenting with this recently, and my strategy in this one is to just go for it. Usually I would fuel save for as long as possible, change onto a new set of tyres and then go for one shot at getting a quali lap in. But here, as the only tyre compound available was hard, there was no point as the tyres just wouldn't wear, and there was also no point fuel saving because being in the tow of the car in front is far more beneficial than having a low fuel level. So for those reasons, we are just going to go for it here. So my first lap was okay. I was in the tow for a lot of it behind a BMW and came across the line with a 43.449. But you would have seen there at the end of the lap the BMW pulled off to try and find him some tow himself. So rather than wasting my time to put in another lap without the tow, I dropped back and tried to get to the back of any train in preparation to go again. Now unfortunately for me, on this first occasion I misjudged it slightly and ended up being just a little too far away to benefit from the tow. Now finding the best spot is a difficult thing to get right because you want to be close enough to the car in front to benefit from the slipstream, but you don't want to be too close that you get held up by the car in front. And as a result of being too far away from the tow, my next lap was only a 44 flat. But on my fifth lap I was a bit closer and put in a 43.459, 1/10 of my best. I probably still wasn't close enough to have an optimal lap though. I was however in the correct position here on lap number 6, and despite being held up by the Hungarian who was trying to set himself for one last lap as time expires, I put in my own fastest lap of the session with a 43 seconds .323. Not ideal really, I probably lost a few tenths there. The time was good enough though for 10th at this point, which I surprisingly held onto as the session finished. Usually as the fuel levels deplete, the laps get faster, but not on this occasion, and we will be starting slap bang in the middle of the pack for this one. So here we are then, lined up on the grid for the rolling start here at Blue Moon Bay. Today's M&M livery was brought to you by OL Racing, so here's a shout out for you for that, my friend. And I'm going to stay with Lexus for the foreseeable, guys, so if any of you livery creators out there want to see your creations in my videos, tag me at Earies and I'll look at these before each round and race with ones that I like. You know the deal, confectionery is the theme I enjoy, so if you want to create me one of those, I will certainly take a look. Up above there's a pretty cool flyover as we head into turn 1 for the first time. Lots of you probably don't think that's cool, but I am a closet aviation geek, so that sort of thing very much excites me. But back to the race here. The aim of the game here for this first part of the race is just to stay out of trouble. There is a lot of jostling for position currently, and this will go on for pretty much the entire race in my experience of racing here on this oval. So I need to try and avoid contact with any other cars, as either a penalty or a spin will have a massively detrimental effect on my race. And in a nutshell, if something of that nature happens and I lose the toe, it's, well, game over really. So whilst we're doing this, trying to stay out of trouble, I'll introduce the race and the strategy for this one. This race is the latest round that I did of the FIA Manufacturers Series here at Blue Moon Bay, as I've mentioned. We have 23 laps around here. The only tyres that we have access to are the hards, and fuel is a factor here. So the strategy, as I picked up from watching Key actually, so thank you for that my friend, was a one stopper, and that one stop was going to be at the end of lap number 12, where you would then fill right the way up and get some new boots on, well I choose to anyway, and then go to the end. Thanks to my recent results, the driver rating is the highest it has ever been, a 54,379 total, which I am very happy with. Now it's not the dizzying heights of 75,000 like the big boys, but considering the amount of time I have to dedicate to this game with everything else going on, I'm extremely happy with that total. And having just got to A+ only a few races ago, my aim is to establish myself here in this top bracket. As a result, I am car number 1 in this one, which isn't ideal, as the game is expecting quite a lot from me here. But we're going to try our best as we circulate around the tri-oval at Blue Moon Bay. Now we're going to fast forward all the way here to lap number 12, our in lap. And I've done this because literally nothing has happened here. All I've been doing is executing my plan, which is trying to stay with the front pack. The key here is again to make sure that I plan my race so I'm in the front come the very end. It's a tactic I explained at Suzuka a couple of videos ago because it sounds very simple, but there's so much that goes into it when I was sitting behind another car until it was time to make my move. Now because of the track type here and the strength of the slipstream, it is especially important to make sure that I get this right. So whilst I'm planning to come in here on lap number 12, I will only do so if the rest of the pack does. The last thing I want to do is come in first, everyone else stay out, and then I'm find myself on my own on the circuit without a slipstream. But thankfully, as expected, all the cars in front do come in at the end of this lap and I follow them in. And although I mentioned earlier I was going to change my tyres, I decided not to, but I am going to stay to the strategy and fill all the way up, and we come out and everything is set up reasonably nicely, I must say, and I can start thinking about when is the best time to try and make my move to the front of the pack and be at the front come the very end and try to take this win. But as we come towards the end of lap number 14 here, I make a massive error. I am too busy thinking about the cars ahead and don't notice the Portuguese driver trying to move around the outside. I drift towards him there and push him into the wall. Apologies Miguel if you're watching this, it was completely unintentional, but I'm big on awareness and humble enough to admit when I make a mistake, and that was a big one from me, so apologies again. You can see there, as a result, I was handed a 2-second penalty that once served is going to push me all the way down to dead last. Now, I didn't actually warn anyone that that was going to happen, because even though I know people switch off when I crash through looking at my YouTube analytics, I wanted to reward those who are sticking around with my documentation of my not giving up and clawing my way back through the pack, which we're going to do in the remaining laps in this one. So let's get to it. And speaking of sticking around, I just wanted to take a moment to give a massive shout out to everyone who stopped by and supported me at Daytona. We had at least 100 people watching the stream the entire time, even when I was in bed, which was absolutely amazing, so thank you. And if you want to know about the next one, the next event is coming up fast, and the next iRacing special event is the 12 Hours of Bathurst. This event takes place on Saturday the 8th of February, and I'll be taking part in it with Rob and Alex. And it doesn't matter what game you race Bathurst on, it is always brutal. So make sure you head over to see if we can finish what we started at Daytona. But back to the race then, we have already gone up from dead last, 19th, up to 15th when there was a huge crash involving 4 cars on the lap previous that you would have seen there, and we have just managed to hold on to the slipstream of the pack up ahead. We have 6 laps left after this one, and we are running out of time here, so it's now time to start taking some names and seeing how high we can get up following that silly error I made earlier in the race. The Hungarian is up first. He goes a little bit deep here and we cut back on him, giving us the inside line down the front straight, and we're going to go up to 14th as we cross the line to start lap number 18. 5 laps left after this one now. 13th place is going to come almost a lap later as we get another great run out of the final corner, which is going to catapult us past the fellow Brit in the Beamer. You can tell I'm on one here as I put in the fastest lap of the race so far for me. Now here on the next lap I need your opinion on something. Always when I make a move, which isn't this one I'm about to make on the Ferrari, I like to get your guys' opinion. As I come down here into the first turn, I feel I had the inside on the Frenchman and that he just turns down on me. But I would say that. It's my video and it's my driving. He clearly wasn't happy here as he flashed his lights, but I want to know what you guys think. In hindsight, maybe I should have waited a little bit, but either way I didn't, and I own my actions and show you guys warts and all on this channel because nobody's perfect. I don't edit any of that stuff out, and I'll take criticism where it is due, so please do let me know on that one. And whilst all that went on, you would have seen there that the Ferrari managed to sneak back underneath, and we're going to do what we can to get him here on this lap. But for some reason, I don't know if it's me, the car combination, or a combination of both actually, I feel I am flying out of that final corner and I managed to overtake him there as we enter lap number 21. As we come up to cross the line to start the penultimate lap here, I'm going to put in the fastest lap of the entire race. We're absolutely flying now, and as we come into turn number 1, you're going to see there's going to be some contact going up ahead and some wall riding. And then I'm going to use something I've never used before. I'm going to engage the Moses effect here. The 2 911s up in front are going to part like the sea, and using the slipstream of the pole up in front, I'm going to go up another 2 positions to 9th place. Now that's quite incredible considering we were last following that penalty only a few laps ago. And we're going to come across the line here. Well, we're not quite there yet. We're going to enter the final corner before we come across the line to start the last lap, which we are going to do right about now. And my work here still isn't done. So we're going to come down into turn number 1, stuck in the slipstream here of the pole up in front like we have been for a little while. Good entrance here into turn number 1, good exit as well, and that's going to result in us getting a purple sector here. So we're getting the pace at the right time. We're still in the slipstream here of this Honda, who's in the slipstream of the pack right in front. This is exactly, well, not exactly, we'd rather be a little bit closer. We're going to get another purple sector here, and coming into the final corner, the Honda is going to hit the Lexus not once but twice. Some more wall riding has gone up ahead, so the Alpha is going to be passed as well on the final straight, and I'm going to come across the line here to pick up a miraculous 7th place. I put in another fastest lap of the race as well, and I end up being only 0.6 of a second behind the eventual winner. Now, considering I was down in last on only lap 15, that wasn't many laps ago. I'll take that one, thank you very much. And again guys, it goes to show why you should never give up, and it is never over until it is over. It does leave me wondering though what could have been had I not got myself that penalty, or if we had a couple more laps to work with, but hey, we're not going to dwell on it, and we're going to move on to the next one. As our 7th place is confirmed here, let's take a look at how this has affected my driver rating. We have gained 500 points here and are up to 54,875, the highest I have ever achieved, as you can see there on that graph on GT Sport. And I think guys, that's probably a nice place to end the video. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. We also now have merch, so go check out the Teespring store below and go get yourself some of that if you want to support the channel there. But thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.